has never finished this high. Stage 18 of the Tour de France. It's showdown between Italy and France. We're going to the top of the giant Col de Galibier. The Tour de France has never finished this high before. It is a reasonably good day. Cool temperatures though, and there's some strong winds blowing in the valleys. It'll hurt them on the climbs, and the weather forecast is cloudy, but we've had a little flurry of snow on the Galibier. We've also had a little flurry of rain. And as always, these magnificent pictures of the Alps available in high definition. Well, this is a very, very special day today in the memory of the Tour de France, celebrating 100 years of bringing the Alps into this competition. Wearing number one down there is Alberto Contador. The pressure is on him today to show us what a great climber he is as he tries to recuperate the time he's lost so far in this year's Tour de France.
Well, Alberto Contador from Spain, I'd have to say today, Phil, in Spanish, if we wanted to describe today's day, it is L'Etapa Reina, the queen of stages.
Well, as they've just started the slopes, in fact, now, of the Col Daniel, the first climb of the day, it pains me to say how far they're climbing. It is a 15 miles climb, which brings them up to 2,744 metres. Now, there is a breakaway. It has swelled to 19. It started off at 16. Three riders, Mikel Delage, Marcus Burkhardt, and Edgar Sidin of Katusha caught them up. So there's 19 riders clear, 8 minutes 49 seconds ahead, Paul. No one threatening the overall. Nicholas Roach is the highest placed, and I think out to try and gain some time. But the profile, as you can see, we're well onto the upward slopes of the Col Daniel as they make their way through Castel Delfino at the moment, just passing the beautiful church of Santa Margherita down below there. Once they descend this one, we go to the feeding zone, then we climb the infamous Col d'Izoire, down the Col d'Izoire, and then they come up via the Col de Lauteret to the top of the Galibier to finish.
Once they cross over the top of that first outside categorized climb of the Col Daniel at 2,744 metres, they pop across into France.
Chance to look at the leaders here. These are all the names for you. I won't go through them all, but I'll point out one or two special ones. Leopard Trek have got two riders in this breakaway, which is not good for Garmin Cervelo, who have only one. They've got Navadaukas here because it's Leopard Trek who are nearest to Garmin Cervelo in the team race, albeit 7 minutes behind at the moment. This breakaway, though, anticipated. The first hour of racing today, another incredible high speed. Over 50 kilometres, 31.5 miles, covered in the first hour. So it was during the second hour when the breakaway got clear.
Yeah, but that slowed it down a little bit during the second hour, Phil, because the second hour was only 34 kilometres an hour, bringing the average speed for the stage so far down to 26 miles an hour.
I think the high speed was due to that green jersey point sprint, but the breakaway got away just a mile before the sprint. So all 15 places were taken by guys who are not really in the competition. So that was, in a way, a good result for Mark Cavendish. This is about the Col Daniel, which brings the riders from Italy into France. 23.7 kilometres, about 15 miles, 2,700 metres, an average grade of 6.5%. But Paul, there are stretches of this climb over 10%. This is a real hard climb.
Yeah, this is an HC climb, as it's called at the Tour de France, which means hors category, which means outside categorization. It's the hardest climb that the Tour de France believes that it can find. And today, there are actually 3 of those categorized climbs like that on the race route. And about 60 kilometres or 40 miles of going uphill.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Basically, it is a nice day for cycling. It is pretty cold if you're watching the race in the cols today. It's only around 50 degrees Fahrenheit and getting cooler as they get higher. But, of course, the boys are going to be having a little bit of a sweat on today, so they might feel pretty cool on the climbs. They'll certainly need to wrap up on the way down from the Col Daniel and the Col d'Izoire. So this is it now. This is Leonardo Duque on the front. We're settling in for about 3 hours of mountain climbing today. And will it decide the Tour de France? We will know today. And there, as we look at the breakaway now, the left-hand side of the picture, there is Brent Buckwalter, the American rider, on the breakaway as he swings off the front. He comes from Athens, Georgia, where they have a famous race in the dark there, the Nocturne of Athens.
And he was born in New Mexico. A lot of tactical manoeuvres going on today. There are 2 riders in here from Leopard Trek, and I think they're not in for the breakaway. They're not in for the team classification. They are in here for the tactics for later on in the day to make sure that Maxime Montfort and Yus Postuma get over this first climb of the day, the Col Daniel, and then they could be of assistance later on to the Schleck brothers. But I think it's also very good to notice that BMC have been very attentive to have rider in there as well.
Well, as far as gradients go, this is the steep climb of the day, the Col Daniel. Towards the top, it gets harder. It doesn't get easier, which is often the case in the Alps. 10% climbs as they go into the area where for about 5 or 6 kilometers they'll climb at 10%. So that's going to really hurt this breakaway. This is Tyler Farrar here. There's one of the sprinters, of course, in this race. It has his one stage win, one of the American sprinters indeed. But this is the day that they just have to hang on in there and get in before the time limit so they can continue their journey towards Paris.
But what they have to do, the sprinters on a day like this, the guys who can't climb, they have to hang into the main field as long as possible and hope later on in the race they get into a group called the Gruppetto or the Autobus, a group of riders which gets together to try and survive and ride as fast as they can on the easiest part of the course and stay inside of the elimination times.
So big day, of course, for Thomas Voeckler and his Europe car team, and let's hope they ride really well. Now, don't forget to log on to nbcsports.com/podium. Do it every day. There aren't many days left during the Tour de France. It's your chance to win a trip for two to the 2012 Tour, a Cervelo S5 bicycle. You can also win a clean bottle and a Giro helmet. Today's code word is attack, and a few big guys have got to do that today, that's for sure. All right, well, as the riders continue on the lower slopes of the Col Daniel, we're going to take another break. As we've done previously in the mountains, we're going to pack in the commercials early on. So towards the end, we're going to bring you totally commercial-free, the climb of the Col de Galibier. That'll be about 45 minutes of action. See you soon. If you're of nervous disposition, then turn away, because this is our Geico mountain profile today as the riders go mountaineering up to 9,000 feet on the Col Agnel, which is where we are now. Then it is into France, out of Italy, as we start to make our move to the rest of the mountains. But the first climb takes us to 9,003 feet today, Paul, a nearly 15-mile climb.
Well, unbelievable. 15 miles of climbing, followed by 9 miles a little bit later on. Then just to finish off the day, if you're not really broken, another 15-mile climb as well.
Just skimming the edge of, well, it's still in Italy, the Lake Lago di Castello, which is used by water skiers in the summer and ordinary skiers in the winter.
Yeah, Johnny Hoogerland, the man that was made famous by that very dramatic crash on the road down to Saint-Flour when he was in the breakaway. He went down very hard with Juan Antonio Fletcher, taken out by a media vehicle that was overtaking. Lacerated, he had 33 stitches in both of his legs, and since then he's managed to recover. He's been on the attack on a number of occasions, and he wore the King of the Mountains jersey for a couple of days. And I'll tell you what, I think he's gone very much into the heart of France, because he reflects what the Tour de France is all about to me: courage and determination.
And clearly a plan of the day, because he's in the breakaway and he's got a real chance of regaining enough points to take that jersey back. And the man that wears it tonight could indeed be the final winner of it in Paris on Sunday. So he's riding with a plan in mind today. One of the 19 riders in the breakaway. The highest placed man is Nicolas Roche, 14 minutes and 6 seconds off yellow. At the moment, he's almost recouped 8 minutes of that. Now, the winds down the valleys today are extremely strong once they get trapped between the mountains. These climbs are going to be exceptionally tough, including the last climb of the day, which will be head to cross. And that's going to be a real tough climb for all of the riders.
Well, that team AG2R of Nicolas Roche, Phil, they've been trying to get into the break every day for the last couple of days, and the team managers were getting a little bit upset with them. And today, Nicolas Roche went into almost every move, so he will be happy to have actually got into this 19-man group. I have a feeling, though, they'll find themselves getting pulled back a little bit down towards the end, and yes, we're very happy to be here as well.
Yes, and that's on the Lago di Castello. As we look here, number 181, Tommy Voeckler, who's now heading, if he were in the lead by the end of this day, he would have completed 10 days in yellow, as he did the last time he wore the leader's yellow jersey. Just slipped to the back of the race here, just for the moment. No pressure on in the peloton. They're allowing it to just move ahead slowly, that breakaway. I think they're waiting for a one-on-one showdown as we get towards the end of the day. Well, welcome back to the Tour de France. Special welcome around the United States as we look here at the top of the Col de Galibier, which is the finish of the Tour de France today. At the moment, the riders are climbing on the mountain of the Col Agnel. There's a breakaway established of 19 men. They've got just under 8 minutes lead. No one in the breakaway is affecting the destiny of the yellow jersey, and no one who wants that yellow jersey has offered a pedal in anger yet. And I'm not surprised on what is an excruciatingly difficult day in the Alps as they climb over the Col Agnel. This climb in itself is 15 miles all uphill, taking them to over 9,000 feet above sea level. It is cold too. The wind is blowing very strongly. And can you believe, on top of the Galibier, where the race will finish today, they have had flurries of snow. But hopefully that's all they're going to get for the day, because the forecast is basically cloudy with some sunshine. This breakaway has got the only dangerous man in it, if he gets much more time, would be Nicholas Roach. He's 14 minutes and 6 seconds off the lead and sits in 21st position in the overall classification. Looking here at Brent Bookwalter, the man from Athens in Georgia. Sorry, we're not looking at Marcus Burkhardt, because he's the guy who has just caught this leading group, and he's the only man in it who has won a previous stage in the Tour de France. Not this year, by the way. So just to show what I'm talking about here, let me show you the profile of this day's racing. It is incredible. 3 outside category mountains, that's where we are. The sprint, by the way, was nothing. 16 riders were clear, so nobody in the green jersey affected that destination at all. Once we're over the top of the Agnelle, we descend into France, because that is the border, that mountain, with Italy, down to the Col d'Izoire, and then onto the Galibier via the Col du Lotteret. So it's a real tough day, Paul. I know around the world everybody's got their famous Luxembourger, hoping that Andy Schleck and his brother Frank will finally sock it to the Tour de France. They tried it in the Pyrenees, they didn't gain time. In fact, they lost a little bit. Cadel Evans is striving to become the first ever Australian to win the Tour. Alberto Contador wants to prove to us that he is still the best bike rider in the mountains.
I think they've made a mistake in allowing Alberto Contador to get over that knee injury that he had going through the Pyrenees. I think he was up against the ropes on a couple of occasions in the Pyrenees, but he's got himself back into form. We've seen that over the last couple of days. He's looking for the attack, but today he really is coming into the terrain that he is the best man in the world at. Multiple acceleration from Alberto Contador are quite possible, so we'll get a very big chance to see if he is the great champion who we believe that he is, because after all, well, he's won the last Grand Tours that he's participated in.
All the green jerseys here, the Grand Tours, or the Tour of Italy, Tour de France, Tour of Spain. There's one still to come, by the way, later on in the year. That will be the Tour of Spain in the month of August. That gets underway. The men escorting the peloton are all the teammates of the race leader, Thomas Voeckler. Well, we look at the riders now in the Alps here today as they celebrate 100 years. There's a lot of them wondering where the day will end today. It is a massive day of climbing. These long valley roads from the helicopter don't look uphill, but this climb, the Col Agnelle, will bring the riders out of Italy, home into France, and it's 23.7 kilometers long. And it sounds more and worse in feet. They top out at 9,003 feet above sea level.
Yeah, it's a beast of a climb, Phil. This climb takes the riders. Once they go over the summit of the climb, they actually get back into France. But then they line themselves up for 2 more big climbs of the day, the Izoard, and they climb up to the Col du Galibier. But it's after the 15th kilometre of climbing, after 10 miles of climbing, it starts to get steep.
It's going to be a great day of racing, Paul. So, as we look here, the snow still melting up on the top of the Alps today. We're going to take another break, and as I promised you earlier, we're going to enjoy commercial-free the whole climb up to the finishing line towards the end of the day. Now, tomorrow the Tour de France continues on Versus, continues through the Alps. We're live at 8 a.m. Eastern, and we come off 2 grueling days on the bike. The riders will be pushed to their limit as they take on the giant Alpe d'Huez in stage 19. The most epic race ever, the Tour de France, continues at 8 Eastern tomorrow, and tune in nightly for Tour de France Prime Time, also 8 Eastern on Versus. Now let's have a look at the leaders on the road. Here they are. They are climbing, remember, Col Agnelle. There's always danger in the Tour de France. Now look what happened about 1 minute ago. What's the fan on the right? Maxime Bonfort coming up the Clive Leopard trek. The spectator too busy waving at us and apologised. Maxime accepted his apology, I guess. Burkhardt just shakes his head and thinks it can't be true. Not when we're climbing a climb 15 miles high to more than 9,000 feet. So the peloton in nice sunny weather out there at the moment. They're progressing up the mountain towards out of Italy now and into the back into French territory again. Well, we've never seen so many campers as they come up towards, as you will see when they come onto the Col de Lotre and onto the climb up to the finishing line. There are rows upon rows of them. This is Chianali, which is the last town we pass through in Italy before we start the descent back into France.
Lovely little hamlet nestled at 1,800 metres, which means we've still got 900 metres before we get to the summit of the Col d'Aniel. And still the main field fairly compact. That's the River Vareta just over to the right-hand side that you might notice.
You can actually see by the speed of the peloton from the helicopter, they are respecting this climb very much so. It is actually much steeper towards the end where it pitches up to over 10% for quite a few kilometres. It's a real grovel. And, well, with such a long way to go and two huge mountains ahead, they're not going to attack each other here because I think they might write themselves out the script. So they'll stay in the peloton for the moment, but they're holding the breakaway now, Paul. It's just around 7:45.
Yeah, I think they've got to the point where everyone has to ride this climb at roughly the same pace. Just to put this into perspective, Phil, this is the second highest road pass in the French Alps after the Col d'Iseron, and it's the third highest pass in the whole of the Alpine range after the Stelvio Pass, which pegs out at 2,757 metres, so that's 9,100 feet approximately.
High passes, high roads, high towns. We went through the highest town in France yesterday, in Briançon, and we go back through there tomorrow, I think it is. So they'll see us again tomorrow as we race towards the finish on Alpe d'Huez. This is a tough way to celebrate 100 years of the Alps in the Tour de France. Just peeping into our picture, they're gone now. Jens Voigt, as we're seeing here, all of the riders now just settling in to what is going to be a real heavy day of cycling.
Everybody knows what's in store. We're going to have a magical race on our hands this afternoon, and everybody knows that. We're all expecting the attack to come from Alberto Contador. I wouldn't be surprised, Phil, to see it being an attack from a long way out, because he knows he needs big time. If he waits for the final climb of the day, he may well be able to pull back 30 seconds or 40 seconds on a guy like Cadel Evans, but he needs 2 minutes, so he's got to do something a long way from the finish line. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the aggression start on the Col d'Izoard.
All right, we'll watch for that. Not far away. So looking at the waterfalls here, the snows are still melting on top of the Glibia. You'll see the snow when we arrive there. In fact, people were throwing snowballs halfway down the mountain today just to pass the time away waiting for the race. So it's still around, and we've had snow flurries at the finishing line today, but that's all they were, thankfully. But the clouds come and the clouds go. There is the beauty as we swing left now, continue on the steep part of the Col d'Aniel. We'll take a break, we'll be back soon. The beauty of the Col d'Aniel as the riders now hit the 10% slopes here, climbing steady. They have passed what is for them the last village in Italy. They climb steadily now to the border with France. We still have 19 riders. Nobody out to commit sporting suicide today and try to break away and lift the ante. They are climbing very steadily, and the same applies to the peloton. We expected this. Maxime Montfort goes through. Well, I think that picture tells it all, Paul. You can see just how steep this climb is now. This is why they're afraid of this climb. This is why they're not pushing on. The crowd will cheer them on, but this is a toughie.
Well, from here to the top, Phil, it's always in excess of 10%. It's 10.1% currently, but it actually kicks up to just inside of 11%. This is Tyler Farrar, the sprinter, the American sprinter on Team Garmin-Cervelo. Looks like a little bit of a knee problem there. He goes up alongside the race doctor. The race doctors do an incredible job here on making sure they keep these bike riders looked after, because there's no going to the hospital halfway through a stage and getting back in a couple of days later. You have to finish every individual stage. That looks like he's getting the old cold treatment, quite possibly for the start of a tendonitis. What a shot that is.
That's it. Just look at that. You can see why it gets steeper as they try it out. In the last 6 kilometres now, we'll see 5 kilometres to go when they get to it. But it looks as though it might need room to change if it gets any steeper as they climb steadily towards the top. The gap has come down, 10 seconds, so they're riding virtually the same speed as the peloton. Nobody at the moment, when we caught sight of the peloton, are being dropped at the minute, which is rather luckily for the riders, because they won't want to be behind too far today, this early in the race, because there's always the dreaded fear of the guillotine knocking you out of the tour. So don't forget to log on to NBCSports.com/podium every day during the Tour de France. It's your chance to win a trip for two to the 2012 event and a Cervelo S5 bike. You can also win a clean bottle and a Giro helmet. Today's code word is attack. Now, I don't think we're going to see any attacks on this climb. I think they're going to wait probably for showdown on the Col de Lauterre, leading on to the Galibier. Paul Sherwin thinks that the leaders might try something on the Col d'Izoard, which is the next climb after this one. He's being picked up from Radio Shack, just checking out who's sprinted across the gap to join them. 5:31 to the leaders.
Really gritting his teeth. He's probably one of the weakest climbers on Team Leopard Trek, so getting himself this advantage on the first climb of the day, getting into that early breakaway of 19 riders, means he's able to survive over this first climb and be useful in the middle part of the course, when I have a feeling there may well be some tactical manoeuvre coming from Team Leopard Trek. Let's not forget, they have a two-pronged attack. They've got Frank Schleck and Andy Schleck, and I think they have to race separately to put pressure onto Cadel Evans and, of course, Alberto Contador.
Well, this has to be one of the steepest cols I think I've seen. They really are on the slopes. Now, Johnny Hooverland is moving up towards the front. He wants that King of the Mountains jersey back, and he wants 20 points at the top. Well, this looks to me as though it might have spoiled for Johnny Hooverland, because this is Iglinski who's gone here. And he's gone over the top in first place, so he's stolen the 20 points. It looks as though we might have Postuma going over in second place. I think Hooverland could have been in third. Camera's not in a very good position to show us right now. It may well have been Hooverland who went over in second place. We'll confirm all of that. The riders are now starting their journey back down the mountain, back in. Well, welcome back to the roads of the Tour now as we start the long descent here. Glinski is about to get picked up here. He's taking it very easy on the descent. This is it just to catch a moment ago. And it looks like Jos Postuma has brought the group of about 10 and 12 riders. They're saying there are now 13 riders here. So we've got Montfort, Postuma, Perez Moreno, Utasun Perez, Shangali, Navadauskas, Iglinski, Viti, Roche. These are the senior riders in the breakaway. And it is a very fast descent too. But the peloton is also descending quite sensibly here. Hitting big speeds, but it's a good descent. So a very fast descent. There's still riders pushing the pace at the front, but these roads are not dangerous at the moment, and the riders can drive on. This is Sky now, and they've whipped up the pace because they have the leader of the Young Riders competition in Rigoberto Urán on their squad. And at the moment, the rider in the second group on the road, Janson, is the new leader on the road in that competition. So they've got to hunt him down.
Well, he's looking for a good 3 minutes on Rigoberto Urán in that competition, and that's why Sky have come to the front. Sky have said they will do everything to defend the position of their Colombian rider, Rigoberto Urán, and that's why we've seen an even well-bandaged up Juan Antonio Fletcher setting a fairly hard tempo on the front of the pack.
Yes, and Urán, like a number of the newcomers to the race, never seen the Alps before, and he's riding very well. He's in the main field. He's a very good climber and a real good find by Team Sky on his squad there.
2008, Rigoberto Urán finished third in the Tour of Lombardy, and this year he was fifth in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. That gives you an indication of how good a bike rider he is going to be in the future at just 24 years of age. He's been
about in the lower ramps of it. It's got an average gradient of 7.3%. Here are the leaders now who are on the climb, and it looks as though they've already started to discharge one or two of them. There's 13 starting again. Peloton now racing at full speed to get onto the climb. The yellow jersey has tried a cheeky move and joined on the attack. Now what has happened there?
There's a puncture there for that rider who went through. It was Marcel Irizar. He was in the leading group of riders, so that's a quick change. That's Dirk de Mol coming over on the right-hand side. A former winner of Paris-Roubaix, by the way, and one of the team managers of Team Radio Shack. I don't think the mechanic there was quite ready for that, Phil, because that's a reasonably slow 12, well, they're reckoning 12 seconds to change there. It seemed a little bit slower than that to me.
Never mind, he's off and running and the cars are still passing, so if he's feeling good, he should climb his way steadily back up to that group which has thinned out now to just 11 men up front. Then we have a group of about 8 chasing, and all of those riders were dropped from the original breakaway of the day. Thomas Voeckler, the yellow jersey, Van den Dert and Rigoberto Urán have all tried a little attack away from the main field. And I'm just waiting to see just where they are at the moment.
Well, everyone's trying, everyone knows that the steepness of this climb, and we're actually now, the winner
decided not for example, but he just lifted all his team away and he didn't quite finish off the way he hoped. Big test moments are now for the yellow jersey, Thomas Voeckler, because they're attacking midway up the Col d'Izoard. They've called all the men on their part trek to start switching. Look how quickly they're starting to threaten now, bring back to the fold in Maxime Bouet.
Well, look how quickly Maxime Bouet came back into this main field. As Stuart O'Grady is giving all that he can. Schleck turning out, looking around all of the time, looking to see where brother Frank is. I don't know if you heard me before, Phil, his nickname in the peloton nowadays is Andy Torticolis, which is the French for Andy Stiffneck, because he keeps looking around all the time to see where everybody is.
He has a habit of doing that, and he looks straight into the eyes of Ivan Basso then and Cadel Evans, right behind him, not Alberto Contador. That means he's always checking the location of the peloton before he has any moves in mind. Stuart O'Grady has just been superb. He's right now in his 15th Tour de France, 14th Tour de France, this American cyclist, and he's riding so hard again for his team.
Yeah, well, Jens Voigt, he did the job first. There's Cadel Evans over to the left-hand side, the yellow Van den Dert. He's also taking on board another power gel. As we can see, the gas is going off a little bit further up the field here, because after all of that pace, then he will take responsibility.
Chase, there's 1 or 2 teammates left of Saxo Bank, and Contador himself
To the Schleck brothers last night. This he may well be.
But he's dropping off the back here as O'Grady actually is riding his 15th Tour de France as he looks across here now. Andy Schleck has lifted the ante, so he's used his last match to O'Grady. There's a reaction only from Keremay, I think it is, who has started for Europcar. Now can Tommy Voeckler answer this one? They're going to have to do something. He's gone very early.
Tommy Voeckler, what about Alberto Contador, and what about Cadel Evans? They've got to respond to this. This is the steepest part of the climb. We're about to go into an area, Phil, called La Casse Desert, the desert of stones, and this is the worst part of the climb. It's 10, 11. If they can catch up to Andy Schleck.
9 days he has held yellow. Maybe they held it today, his 10 days of 2004. Now we've got 25.7 kilometres left on the stage today. The gap is 3 minutes and 4 seconds. At the start of the day, Andy Schleck was 2 minutes and 36 seconds behind. Work it out for yourself. He's the yellow jersey on the road now. Cadel Evans has no choice now but to attack. They are going to wait for the move. The only thing that might hurt them is the headwind of the initial valley of the climb.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see any moves at all, Phil, coming from this group until we actually get to the point where we're looking at the race once they go around this corner, because that's when the steeper gradients start to kick in. And what will be much more difficult for these guys is they'll come to the steep gradient and then they get into the rarefied air, because they're going to climb through 7,000 feet, which is where we're sitting. They finish at over 8,500 feet.
Well, the clips are Ryder Hezendal there, the Canadian rider of Garmin Sabella. He's still in that chase group, so he's having another good ride into the mountains. The composition is Schleck, Montfort, Iglinski, Rose, Nederland, and Seaman in the breakaway. Nederland is the rider in group on the right. He's ready to work. He's done a lot of work in this break as they now go under 25 kilometres to go. That will leave us about 2 kilometres to the start of the climb.
Yes, well, the only man really dangerous in this breakaway is Andy Schleck, of course, because he's at 4th at the start of the day, 2 minutes and 36 seconds behind Thomas Voeckler. I'm not sure he's concerned about Thomas Voeckler. He's thinking about time that he can gain over Alberto Contador and Cadel Evans. That's why he went on this breakaway so far from the finish of the stage. Move, and all that Frank has to do is follow them all the way to the summit.
These sort of levels on Merckx, on Eddie Merckx victory margin. It's got to be about now, I think. Nothing to wait for the Kivier itself. They're climbing steadily up towards the top of the climb. 15 kilometres. Banner is not too far away from the leaders on the road. Very soon they'll be swinging towards the Galibier slopes itself. It is going to be Isn't here is the orange jersey of Samuel Sanchez. We'll see if he comes off. Anyway, even Cadel Evans is mystified now. He doesn't know why Contador suddenly disappeared from the race. Sylvester Schmidt is coming up on the outside there. Well, Sylvester Schmidt has suddenly brought up Ivan Basso, the two lime green riders on the left of our picture, Pierre Roland. They're all looking at each other saying, hey, what happened there? Where on earth has Contador gone?
They're all trying to say, come on, let's all work together. But, you know, they're all on different teams. They've all got different agendas. Cadel Evans versus Pierre Roland. That was Sylvester Schmidt made the slight acceleration there. And he is, in fact, going to go off the front. And Cadel Evans has seen this. And I think Cadel Evans, if he's got the gap here, he may well try and go over the top.
He's got to go. He's got to go to save his crack at the Tour de France now. He's gone up to Sylvester Schmidt and Pierre Roland, but they're crawling their way across this gap again. The other rider we're not seeing, Paul, is Samuel Sanchez. What's happened to him?
He's sitting in this group also. I think he is waiting for the steepest kilometres to go, and then he will go off in a lone pursuit. Once he gets to the part of the climb where the gradient suits him.
Well, this is exactly what Andy Schleck will be.
Remember the day that a guy by the name of Lance Armstrong was sitting at the back end of the pack, and all of a sudden he recovered and slapped everybody in the face and went on to win the stage up to the summit of Alpe d'Huez. And that could be why Frank Schleck is sitting on the wheel of Alberto Contador all of the time.
Remember the Contador of old when he's won the Tour de France. This is not the Contador of old. He would not be where he is now if he was feeling good. The Col de Galibier has started for the chase. The gap has come down to 3.5 minutes. Cadel Evans is fighting back.
He's fighting to save the Tour de France. He's fighting to win the Tour de France, and he knows he has one goal, and that's to pull back as much time as possible on Andy Schleck. This is a beast of a day that we've been through this afternoon, and we've still got 7 kilometres left to go to the finish for Andy Schleck.
This may turn out to be the biggest crowd here on the motorway because they stopped all the cyclists going up to the top. They have 5 hours to spare. They weren't able to.
Tours de France, and he, Phil, will appreciate a ride like this.
Oh, you can bet your life he's going to shout words of encouragement. This is what Merckx would have done. This is how Merckx would have won his Tour de France. He'd be full of admiration. He's shouting at Andy Schleck.
He's really suffering this boy now as he starts to pick up the crosswind, the headwind, but he knows he's got to keep. He's chosen this as his tactic this afternoon. It's a tough tactic to move at 60 kilometres from the end of a stage of the Tour de France, but when you've got 3 outside categorised climbs, it really is a tall order. Cadel Evans knows that. Cadel Evans should theoretically be a lot fresher. Alberto Contador still happy to hide in the wheels.
Well, the amazing thing is, too, behind all this, yes, we might have a new leader tonight, but the erstwhile leader, Tommy Voigtler, will only drop into 2nd place, and Cadel probably down to 3rd at the end of the day, with one more day in the mountains to come. Voigtler can still think of a podium in Paris after a ride like this.
They are all now, Phil, getting into the steep part of this climb, and it's having an effect on Cadel Evans too. Yes, it's down to 3:09, but look at the laboured style as he goes past the 5 kilometre to go banner. He's labouring with that gear. It's not turning over quite as smoothly as it did before.
Andy Schleck started the day at 2:36 behind Voigtler. He's now 3:08 on the road, so it is not a lot. In fact, if Evans keeps this up, Voigtler could be putting on his 10th yellow jersey.
Well, that's the important thing that Thomas Voigtler needs to understand at the end of the day, and all he's going to do is try and match the mark. As we go now past 4 kilometres to go for Andy Schleck, he seems to be a little bit more motivated, Phil. This is the most difficult part of the climb. It's an average gradient of 9% over the next kilometre.
Well, we've been treated to a magnificent display of defiance, and now we're seeing them coming back as best they can. This is a Jelle Van Aert, the king of the mountains, now in a little bit of difficulty himself as he drops away from the lead group and is down to 3:11 now for Cadel Evans' chase.
All of this because of the damage being inflicted on that group by Cadel Evans on his own, isolated from the world, isolated in his own small little world as he thinks about victory in the Tour de France. But as you said, Phil, the man he might be saving this afternoon is Thomas Voigtler.
Thomas Voigtler is only about half a minute out of yellow at the moment. If they close this to 2:36, then he'll be back in the colours of yellow tomorrow. It's still a tall ask, 3.5 kilometres to climb on the Col de Galibier. This barren mountain in the middle of France, and now we have a Luxembourg rider championing the yellow jersey of the Tour de France.
Phil, there's no more tactics at a moment like this. This is just survival. This is the guy who's got it left in his belly to keep the tempo going. He's going to answer the day. Nicholas Roach, he was in that breakaway. He saw what it looked like, and still Cadel Evans out of the saddle, battling with the machine, battling with his body, realizing that this is the moment that he has to save the Tour de France. A little bit like you mentioned earlier, Stephen Roach, when he did it in 1987, he had to fight his way back into the Tour, having lost it at the start of the climb.
Well, at the moment, Cadel Evans has gone from being 118 ahead of Andy Schleck back to 150 behind him. You might have the 150 in the time trial on Saturday, you might not. This is going to make a very open race if they continue at these gaps. 3 minutes and 6 seconds is now the gap, and he's looking.
Frank Schleck continues to mark Alberto Contador. I don't think Frank Schleck trusts him at all. He thinks he might have something left in the gas tank, and he's waiting there to see if there is a move down towards the end coming from Alberto Contador. This is the Sammy Sanchez group. These guys are in all kinds of difficulty as they've still got a long way to go to the top of this climb. Hard to believe, Phil, that 3 kilometers to go, that these roads a couple of days ago were covered with snow.
Well, the impossible is sometimes possible. Frank Schleck is only 3 seconds behind Cadel Evans overall, and he can pull 3 seconds out with a sprint finish to the top of the Galibier. The Schleck brothers can be on a great day out today.
Cadel's got it locked in now at 3:08. He's not going forwards, he's not going backwards. They're riding at about exactly the same pace as Andy Schleck, and Frank looks as easy as pie there, just sitting. He's sitting in last position there because he wants to keep an eye on everybody else in this group. And if anybody makes a move, Frank will go with them.
Surprised to see Vladimir Karpins in the 101 has tagged onto this breakaway. Has been in trouble all day.
Well, it's not
Roach. His pocket. It's Nicholas Roach who's just got caught as he got to the back of the field there. Now Evans continues to set the pace all the way up the Galibier. No one has helped him. Voigtland being prepared just to follow him. And this is the composition of the group at the moment of Contador, Schleck, Basso, Nicholas Roach, Evans and Cunego, Thomas Voigtland, Pierre Rolland. That is it on this climb, Cadel Evans. And looks as though Nicholas Roach just an inch to the back there as well. The gap is coming down at 3:09. It is still not the end of the Tour de France today with the gap at 3:09. But it's going to make it difficult for Cadel Evans, and I think today we saw the end of Alberto Contador in this year's Tour.
Well, only one man missing really, Phil, from the top 5, and that of course Sammy Sanchez. He too will be disappearing from his position in 5th place at the end of the day. Andy Schleck now, Phil, has really got to suffer.
Well, what a day to suffer, knowing now with every pedal rev and 2.5 kilometers left to climb. He's climbing to the Maillot Jaune at 3:06. And he started to nibble it out again and back again. They are climbing at the same speed now. They're both finding these last couple of kilometers just about at their limit.
Well, I'm amazed by the yellow jersey of Thomas Voigtland. I think once again the tactics of the race, the way they're riding this race, the tempo riding they're doing, actually plays into the hands of Thomas Voigtland. This year's Tour de France will allow this Frenchman to start to dream about possibly coming to the Tour de France next year and trying to win it for France, a title they haven't earned since 1985 at Bernard Hinault.
Well, it's been a magical tour for the French in many ways, although they haven't won a single stage. They've certainly flown the yellow flag, and coming up to 2 kilometers to go, Cadel Evans is now fighting for his very Tour life here. Tomorrow we have one more big day in the mountains, then the time trial. But the way it's beginning to look, Cadel Evans is just going to have to work out how to get rid of Andy Schleck tomorrow in the mountains.
Schleck looking over his shoulder, looking down at the curves and the straight lines a little bit further down the road there, just to see if he can see what is happening. That should be 2 kilometers to go, that manner they've gone by.
2 kilometers to go. At the moment, it looks like this. Thomas Voigtland will stay in 2nd place with half a minute. Cadel Evans will be in 3rd at 1:48. Frank Schleck will be 4th. Contador 3:45. And there is confirmation of Alberto Contador, the champion of the Tour de France the past 2 years, is yo-yoing on his favourite playground. I think that's the end of the Tour de France for him as a winner this year.
Well, that's what Andy Schleck felt. You know, Phil, he said that the Tour de France would be decided in the last week of the race. It was all about the freshness. Alberto Contador's got the Giro d'Italia in his legs. Don't discount the man. He's got a huge heart and he's got a huge bag of courage, and he's he's pulled himself back into this group, but yes, he's having a hard time.
Pride has done that. Pride has forced him to come back onto the back of that group. He knows now they're coming up to the last 2 kilometres of the day. It's been a real tough fight for the champion of the past 2 years and a 3-time Tour winner. He come back, but he's gone again.
Well, he tried with everything. That was the pride of Spain on his shoulders there, trying to push him back into that group. I'm amazed also by the ride of Damiano Cunego, the prince, the little prince they call him from Italy. He's riding comfortably in that group, and he's going to have his best ever Tour de France finish this year.
It's 19 seconds on Contador. He climbs over him in the overall classification. That'll put Cunego into 6th place in the Tour de France. I think he might find he'll be up in 5th place tonight because Sanchez Germany gone from the group. Evans continues to fight to try and round it out for 3 minutes before he gets up to the finishing line. And look how he's reduced with his incessant pacemaking. There's only 5 riders following Cadel Evans now.
He's churning a massive gear, the rider in the black and red jersey there, Cadel Evans, because all he's thinking about is trying to reduce the deficit onto Andy Schleck. Alberto Contador, well, he's just got to survive now and try and limit his losses because he could be plummeting down the overall standings and maybe looking at himself dropping outside the top 7 or 8.
Decide to retire from the Tour. Champions do that sort of thing, and Alberto Contador will try again tomorrow, possibly to win Vidal Duez.
Well, Cadel Evans has finally managed to bring it inside of the 3-minute mark, and still no one helping him, and still in contact there is little Thomas Voeckler.
But if it comes down to 2:36, it's unlikely now. But you know, Thomas Voeckler may be out of yellow tonight. We're talking by only a few seconds as all the cheers on top of the Golden Lily now go to this remarkable ride today. One of the great rides in modern times by Andy Schleck in the Tour de France. He took the race halfway up the English one, knowing he had to go early, and he took the risk of blowing his whole Tour de France out the window, and it isn't going to be the case. He should get the yellow jersey tonight. The chase is at 2 kilometres to go.
Separated by a kilometre, that on the slopes of a mountain like this corresponds to 3 minutes. I just saw the tunnel over to the left-hand side, and now he's on the final part of this climb. Alberto Contador is on the back foot in the Tour de France this year. He's never really looked very comfortable at all.
Well, it's a sorry sight to see because Alberto Contador, when he's climbing so well, he's the greatest climber in the world. But I think he's tired, as Paul has said, of the way he dominated the Giro d'Italia. And now this man is getting his revenge. He's looking for yellow tonight, a victory in Paris on Sunday.
You might just have noticed all of a sudden the green jersey of Pierre Rolland has come to the front for Thomas Voeckler. He's going to try and save that yellow jersey in the final 2 kilometres of today's stage.
2:37 is what Voeckler will not want to see on the clock because that will cost him yellow. But they are so close to defending it. We are now just 19 seconds behind, and he could still be in yellow by a second. This is how he lost to eventually to Lance Armstrong.
Well, there's a little word there coming from Voeckler. Come on, let's keep this yellow jersey. He's really struggling. Evans is just there. He's come back. They saw that the French did not have that power. The dream was to try and protect the yellow jersey of Thomas Voeckler this afternoon, but there was no power in the engine room where they shouted down for it, so it's still up to Cadel Evans.
This has been a great fight by Cadel Evans. He's been left alone here. It's been an easy ride for Frank Schleck in many ways in the black there, who's watched his brother fly away today. But look now, 2 minutes 44. There is still a chance here for Voeckler to keep his lead. And he's just praying for the end of the stage now. I think the legs have cried, enough is enough. He's fighting now. Yes, he's getting time gains, but is he going to get yellow?
But what is he going to do tomorrow? He's going to come about and do this all over again as Cadel Evans slowly pulls it back. 2:41, the yellow jersey, 2:40. It's now starting to tip towards the conservation of the yellow jersey by Thomas Voeckler. overall lead this afternoon, but there's not very much in it, Phil. What kind of a day is it setting itself up for tomorrow?
Well, absolutely. There have been heroes galore today in the Tour de France. The biggest of them all, I suppose, yes, is Andy Schleck. But this man, 10 days in yellow now and refuses to lie down. And Cadel Evans had to fight to stay in the Tour de France today, and he's achieved that as well. There are 3 winners today.
There are 3 winners, and I tell you what, Phil, it's going to be a very interesting day tomorrow. Alberto Contador at the kilometre to go banner was over a minute behind this group at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So his Tour de France has disappeared, and he's all over the road here. Number 1, Alberto Contador.
Well, it's a sad sight to see the number 1, the man who's won the Tour de France 3 times. He's looked infallible in the mountains. Tommy Danielson's also consolidated his place in the Tour de France tonight in the 9th overall, which closed in as well. He had a bit of work to do to get higher than 9th. Ryder Hesjedal coming in as well. And at the back, we've got Christian van der Velde. So they've kept their lead clean and increased it in the team race for Garmin-Cervelo.
Absolutely, they'll be very happy with that, as we can see coming in high bars in Velde, Jelle Venender, but behind him he'll be surprised to be finishing in front of Alberto Contador on a day like today. My quick calculation, Phil, is that in fact Thomas Vogler has kept his overall lead by 15 seconds.
And in a similar situation back in 04 against Lance Armstrong, he kept it by, I think it was 22 seconds. That won't give up, will he?
No, he won't, and I tell you what, we're going to see a great battle tomorrow, and just be careful tomorrow. It may well be there's still the Schleck 1-2, because Andy Schleck's brother Frank had a very easy ride here this afternoon.
And he's won on Alpe d'Huez before.